That's a great question. We're planning on homeschooling our children. In fact, my wife just got back from a homeschooling conference down in Cincinnati last week.
I think that it's great. I think that they get more attention, and I think that they get to learn what they want to learn versus just getting tested.
I think that people perceive homeschoolers as always being above the other children curricular-wise, and maybe per se when they graduate that they are always a lot more ready for college or the adult profession.
The reason why we homeschool, primarily, I think it's around the ability to select our own curriculum.
We decided to start homeschooling when Will was in the middle of first grade. He's our oldest, and he was bored. He was just a typical firstborn kid, very bright, and he was bored.
I think also the ability to tailor or customize their workload or course load to focus on those things that they have particular interest in is also a benefit that we see that's important for us.
You don't have that time that you have to wait for other children to catch up. You can move at your own pace, and so you don't have as much of that wasted time, which leaves you with an abundance of time to pursue other interests.
Knowing that our kids can go to school and focus only on their education during the day was a huge benefit in my mind.
I guess in the public school system, there's a sense of people have to do it, or they're doing it only for religious reasons, or they're doing it because their school systems are bad, or there's always, it's never because it's a good thing.
If you have the ability to teach children at home, why not?
I think if the parents are educated to be teachers, it's particularly good.
I think a lot of people have a misconception that if you do not have a teaching certificate, you can't teach your child. And what I have found is that my friends who were teachers, certified teachers, and are homeschooling their children now say that that degree was actually a detriment to them in homeschooling their children. Not because they didn't have knowledge of how to teach a group of children, but because it was difficult for them to move from child management to actually teaching.
I think one thing people don't understand is how many resources are available to homeschoolers. If there's something that I can't teach and Scott can't teach, there's an online course available, there's a class available.
There have been times where my children have a gifting that I do not or my husband does not. And so we have gone to outside sources. Might be a friend, might be a family member, it might be a tutor, or it might be someone in a professional field that they're interested in.
I do think that people have this idea that only certain types of people can do it, which I don't really believe is true. I think if you want to, you figure out kind of what works for you, but maybe in their mind there's a specific way to do it and they don't think that way would fit with them.
I think the only challenge that we have had where extracurriculars are concerned is that there are too many to choose from. And I don't know why they call us homeschoolers, because it feels like we're never home.
There's a lot of stereotypes around homeschoolers, and I think it depends on the student as much as anything else, whether or not those stereotypes play out.
People say like when you tell them you're homeschooled, like, oh, you don't look homeschooled. Yeah. What does a homeschool look like?
Well, your personality doesn't fit a homeschooler. Like, you're overly friendly. Not really overly friendly, but you're more friendly than I expect you to be.
Or like even just being able to talk to people. Like I remember one time someone was like, oh wait, you're homeschooled? I totally would have never guessed that. How are you so social? How do you talk to people? I'm like a person.
Another stereotype would be that your kids don't have friends, that they must be lonely or sad, that your children are somehow lacking.
You know, you have the typical questions like, you know, how do your kids play and do they ever see other kids?
Because a child who is social in public school is a social homeschooler. A child who is an introverted homeschooler is going to be an introverted public school child.
So it goes both ways. I think it's more to do with the individual and the student than it does their particular upbringing.
I was homeschooled.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I liked it. I had like a cool homeschool school group and a lot of friends.
Homeschooling is a big decision, and it is not for everyone.
It requires a lot of time on my part and on Tara's part. And then there's cost as well, financial cost. A lot of what we do, we pay for ourselves.
I think there are situations where it's not always beneficial to homeschool your kids. It's not always beneficial for your child to be homeschooled. I know for myself it's very challenging having 3 at different ages. And every day, you know, we question, are we doing the right thing for our kids?
But we always came back to, the pros outweigh the cons, the benefits are more than the costs, and it continued to make sense for us. It's been my observation over the years that kids seem to excel best in an environment where they've got a teacher who is very vested in the outcome of their education. And for a parent, there's no more vested interest.
When you think about it, nobody knows your child the way that you do. Nobody loves your child the way that you do. And nobody is more motivated to see them succeed than you are as their parent.
I think everybody's goal is everybody gets there at the end. We just don't always get there the same way.
You get to see the light go on. When your child learns something new and they get it, you are right there to see it, and it is priceless.
I don't worry about my uniform, don't worry about my hair. We never get snow days cause we don't have to go nowhere. I got the homeschool blues. And some people say we're crazy, a little out of touch. They say, you think you can school your kids better? Pretty much. I got the homeschool blues. Now I don't need no sympathy, cause things are working out just great. I've been #1, first in my class, for going on 5 years straight. When my mama's talking to herself, it makes perfect sense. I say she's only in a parent-teacher conference. I got the homeschool. Yeah.